What's up, everybody? Toad Guy here. Before we get into this video, I want to let you know about the Omg Wrestling Podcast. We just interviewed AJ Styles, and if you haven't checked it out, make sure you do. Link is in the description below. We talk about WCW, NWA Wildside, WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor, and everything else. It's a great episode. Make sure you check it out by following that link in the description. Now, let's get into this episode. All right, today we're going to be talking about WWE 2K15. We're going to be talking about my wish list for WWE 2K15. And I actually went through and I actually sat down and thought, what are the top 5 things I want to see in WWE 2K15? And this is my wish list for it. And you might agree, you might disagree, but make sure you hit that like button. And let me know in the comment section below, what do you want to see in WWE 2K15? Let's get right into the show. The first thing I want to see is an overhaul of the graphics. I think that WWE 2K14, WWE 13, WWE 12, WWE, all those have looked the same, and they just haven't improved over the years the way that they should. We are at a point where we are in the next generation of consoles. We need to take whatever technology they have from NBA 2K14, implement that into the WWE games, and get the realistic facial expressions, because that's what the game is all about. We don't really have that many facial expressions when you're playing the video games, and that's wrestling right there. When you think of wrestling, you think of the wrestlers' faces, the way they sell the moves, and that is what we need in WWE games. I don't even care if we get a new engine, because that would be fine with me, but I think that we need a complete overhaul of the graphics, make it the best next-gen possible graphics that we can have. The second thing I want to see is more than 6 people in the ring at the same time. This is like a no-brainer. On the next-gen consoles, Battlefield 4, you can have 64 people in a match at the same time. That is what needs to be done for the WWE games. Now, we don't need 64 people in the ring at one time, but we do need at least 30 people in the ring at the same time. I think we need to be able to control an entire Royal Rumble at one point. We need to get 30 people in the ring at a Royal Rumble. I know it'd be a little crowded, it'd be really hard to do, but it needs to happen. You need to be able to have all the people that are involved inside the Royal Rumble need to be involved in this game. You need to be able to do it. It's got to happen. It's next-gen technology. Make it happen. Number 3 is free roam and fighting in the crowd. Now, this isn't that big of a deal because it doesn't happen that often in WWE television, but there are those moments where you actually get the guy that gets clotheslined over the barricade and then they spear him through the barricade. It just happened the other day with Brock Lesnar doing it to Mark Henry. So I don't see why that couldn't be a thing. I know we don't really need the free roaming fighting in the backstage because that doesn't happen all the time. But it does happen in WWE television. I always feel that if it happens on television, you should have it in the game. And free roam fighting in the crowd, fighting in the backstage areas is something that needs to come back. I mean, I know we had it before. I know they took it out. But it's just something that I feel that needs to be in the game. I think it would be a great addition to the game. It would keep me wanting to play even the hardcore matches. No disqualification, last man standing, all that good stuff. That is something that really needs to be in the game. Even if part of just going into the crowd, like I said, it just happened on television, so it should be in the video game. Number 4 is dynamic rosters and arena updates. Now, if you don't know what I'm saying by this, what I'm really saying is that they just need to implement guys into the game as they are. So say that John Cena gets injured, he would be actually taken out of the game as far as the main career or story or something mode like that. That's the way I would build it. That's the way that I would do it. I would base it off of who's currently around, and that would be my roster. And if guys come back, you can have them come back in the roster, and you can have all kinds of crazy stuff going on. And as far as arenas go, you can implement it as well. I feel that they don't really need to release a game every year. I know that we want them to release a game every year because we want to see the updates and all that, and they probably make lots of money off of it. But I've always said it like this: if you make a great game, you can just implement DLC, even just roster updates, dynamic roster like I was talking about, dynamic arena, say next year, WrestleMania 31, we want to put that arena in the game. Well, we will with an update. That's what we need to do, because if you keep doing all of these updates, people are going to want to buy the game, and you can make money off DLC and dynamic updates, dynamic roster. It's just something that needs to be done. It's a great feature. There's so much going on in wrestling. People return, people leave. That's the way it needs to be as far as a roster goes, and I don't even care that we see one game every other year or something like that. I would be fine with that as long as we get a really, really great game. The last and final thought on my wish list is an NXT/My Career mode. We know My Career is a NBA 2K type mode. Bring that in. Bring it in and have NXT mode. You got to make your way through the indies all the way to the top, make it to the main roster, and that's the way to go. I know it could be generic. It could be something that we've seen before, but we really do need to bring it to the WWE 2K15 franchise, because you could have a guy that you create go all the way up to the ranks into the WWE. And without that, one thing that we could do is we could do some cool stuff as far as things you don't see normally. You get to go and do photograph, personal appearances. You get to go make a wish. Stuff like that would be amazing. Things that we don't get to see in the video game. You know, it's just strictly wrestling. But if we get to see outside action with these people, you know, you get to see yourself buying a house, buy a car, do all this cool stuff that hasn't been in games before. Make your way through the ranks all the way to the top. Have unique, awesome, crazy storylines for your guy. You can decide what your guy is going to be. Is he going to be a face? Is he going to be cocky? Is he going to be a jerk? Is he going to be a good guy? Is he going to be a bad guy? Whatever you want to do with him, you can decide that. And based off of how you do that, that's how the main story would play out. Anyway, guys, that is just my 5 wish list items that I want to see in WWE 2K15. I know it's not that great. There's probably a lot better ideas that I could do, but I didn't want to go way into the fantasy thing like, oh, I wish this move was in or that move was in or they did this. I really just wanted to keep it simple, down to the core, and make sure that you guys know these are my thoughts on WWE 2K15. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this. Tony Pizza Guy, frag out.